Good morning, everyone. It has been quite a while since Trudy and I have gathered here to host any kind of Waking to the New Dawn conversation. We've been trying to make it happen for a little while, but I would say as status quo with the energies, sometimes you just have to go with the flow. But we are really excited to be with you here this morning. Thank you for joining us, whether you're listening to this at a later time, or you're here with us live in person this morning. But in usual old-fashioned, I'm going to turn it over to Trudy. She's going to take just a few moments to kind of clear the space and set the energy. And then I'll come back on and we're just going to have a conversation about waking to the new dawn.
Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us. As Kristin said, it's been a while, and when she and I talked about the time that has passed since we did Awaking to the New Dawn, we were surprised, well, a little shocked, because the time had just occurred. And it passed and it moved. And we realized that there had been a lot of change going on, a lot of energies. So I'd like to bring everybody into our community space, coming inward and beginning to find a little calm and tranquility for our day. So I'm offering up a mudra that is the mudra of a single pointed concentration, internal concentration, and it's the gesture of anointing the self. It's the Abhisheka mudra. And we bring the hands together, the index fingers come to a point, the thumbs close in front, and you can see I have the middle, ring, and pinky fingers closed. And this can come to the heart center with the index finger pointed upward, bringing our compassion and our concentration inward, but also allowing it to move into the Vishuddha chakra, the throat, for full expression. A single pointed concentration. So let's close our eyes. And begin to reflect. As Kristin and I take you on our journey of the last several months in a way of reflecting with all of you some of the energetic changes and lifestyle changes that have occurred. I invite you to use this single point of concentration to look into the heart, into the soul, and breathe some life into your present moment, knowing that all that has occurred brings us to now. So we'll practice in silence. Reflecting with compassion and softness. Deepen the breath. And allow the exhales to get a sense of flow and liberation. Inhale deeply, pause the breath. Develop an awareness of the nourishing breath flowing through the body, erasing any discomfort, disturbance, or distraction. And exhale. You blink the eyes open. And I invite you to return to this mudra when you feel as though you need a single point of concentration. The Abhisheka mudra. So now Kristin and I have some sharing, and we'll be interested to learn from all of you if there was anything that touched your soul, maybe awakened a thought or an emotion, or maybe there was something that occurred in your life lately that brought you into a deeper understanding of self and awakening. So, welcome back, Kristin. We took a little journey there for a few.
Yeah, and two words that you used when you first started gathering our energy this morning with the mudra were full expression. And as soon as you said that, it just really reminded me, and I got the message of that is what this cycle is all about. That is what Waking to the New Dawn is all about, is going deeper and deeper and becoming more and more aligned with the full expression of our truth, living out our divinity, our sovereignty, like harnessing, that inner authority and living from the inside out, and that full expression of our truth. And I think that you and I can both agree, because, I'm realizing we did our first waking session in June of 2020. It's coming up on 4 years. And I think that we both realized, and maybe at times a little caught off guard with it, that it's not a one and done. It's not an easy process, that really truly coming into that full expression is very deep, intense, chaotic at times work. And it doesn't necessarily look like what we may think it's going to look like or feel like we think it's going to feel.
And I think the pattern of our coming together for the waking sessions early on, what did you say? That date that we started, we had a rather structured way of being. We met a particular day, a particular time each month for a certain amount of time. We had a structured format. And I think back over how that has, and I'll use the word evolved, because we've ebbed and flowed. we've come together. Sometimes the energy didn't feel right, so we backed away a little bit. And then we found ourselves coming back to it and saying, wow, there's a lot going on. Is it time to share? And then we would do that. So in some ways, when we look at the schedule, using that term, of how we've come together and how we've shared and how the waking has grown, there are times when we thought it's asleep. And there are times when we thought, I wonder if it's dead. And there are times that it's come back to life. And so I think we've gone with our child, let's call it that, of waking to the new dawn. We're creating a container for people to share their energies, their thoughts, and their emotions, and come together as a community. And so it had many different phases. And I don't use the past tense thinking that it's over, just saying
Right.
that during that time, it has taken on the characteristics of a lifestyle.
Well, and the characteristics of the new earth lifestyle, which is being in the moment, choosing what feels right in the moment, period. Not forcing a schedule, not forcing what looks right, what we think it should be like, but really living our truth and our collective truth, in the moment for what feels right. And even though our goal is to create a community of people, bring more unity, bring more harmony, bring in more collaboration, the truth of it is, in the process of creating that, we actually, the energies of it, the energies of awakening actually separate us first, isolate us first, or at times, so that we can do our own deep awakening, or coming into alignment with that full expression of our truths. And one of the notes that I made for today, and we talk about it all the time, there's no other way to do it. There's just no way around it. There is no other way to do it other than shutting off the outer voices so that we can come into alignment with that inner voice. And because we haven't had that full expression of living in our truth, because of the way of the world and the way that it's been, and it's not that it's a wrong thing, it's just what has been, and we haven't really lived or known our full expression of truth. There's no other way to do it but to go into those quiet, isolating moments, periods of times, and I've had a lot of them the last couple of years, and I feel like I've been on a little soul sabbatical. But it's not really been a sabbatical at all, because during those times and those challenges of my own personal life, it's been very healing and it's been very revealing, but it's been very isolating. So part of creating that unity, I think, first requires an element of separation. Does that make sense?
Yeah, being alone. So that you can get a full sense of your being, and then it brings us into harmony when we do connect in a more
Right.
authentic way. Mm-hmm.
Right, because we really have to harness and, one of the things that I said to you before we gathered this morning was, the deeper I go into my own process, it's almost like the less I want to talk about it or teach it. I just, because I think we're all being called first to truly live it and be it for ourselves first. It has to start with ourselves first, like you said, so then that when we do re-engage with the world or a community of people, we are stronger and more authentic in that truth of who we are.
And it's interesting now that I think about it and how I brought this forward, which came to me as waking to the new dawn, has actually modeled the way life often goes. It's structured, it's unstructured. It flows, it stops, it starts. It continues in a way that's not obvious. You and I had many conversations during the time when we weren't out with Waking to the New Dawn chats like this. And so people might think, oh, wonder what happened to that. Or maybe it just felt natural to them. And so if we look at the history of how this has occurred over the time we've been together, the time that Waking to the New Dawn has been an entity, it actually flows along like life. And as a human being, sometimes we get caught up in those changes. It's like when things slow down or they stop or when they activate, we get so involved in it that we want it to stay that way. Okay, let's keep it activated. And then it stops or it ebbs and we get concerned and then we have stress and then we feel challenged. And just being able to soften ourselves in a way that we can, and I'll use the trust word, it's a big deal because it's probably one of the hardest things humans can learn to do, but trust that even if it seems stopped and there's a void ahead,
Yeah.
that's not going to last very long.
Well, and you just used the word void. I went through a really deep, deep healing, clear, whatever you want to call it, but a really deep cycle this fall that lasted several weeks. And the details of that don't matter, but it really, I mean, I already thought that I was somewhat disconnected and isolated, and it took me even deeper into that feeling of being really disconnected and really isolated. And it was a very, very challenging time with me. And I worked real closely, with one gal in particular who was kind of like a mentor, healing energy healer and all of that to help me stay grounded and heal and clear everything that was coming up for me. And she has said these words to me before, that deeper so we can go higher, deeper so we can go higher. And I feel that, and I've lived that very organically. But one of the things that came up for me during this cycle, she said that in one of our sessions, she saw like an imagery of like the inside of a tree trunk and all the rings, that go out, and the older the tree is, the more rings that are there, representing the lifespan, of that tree. And she said that she saw that for me. And she saw them all like clearing, like all the work that I was doing was like clearing out like all these old like experiences, these soul experiences, not just from this life, but all the other lives of my soul that represented like abuse and trauma and anxiety and fear, and they were all just clearing away. And initially I thought, oh my gosh, like how wonderful is that? She said, it's just like the slate is being wiped clean. And I'm like, that is phenomenal. Like to know that like all of that old gunky energy that is just being cleared away and the slate is clean. And that was great. But then as I came out of that cycle, it dawned on me like, oh, well, the slate is clean, but it's also blank. And I felt extremely raw, extremely vulnerable, and did not have a clue, and I still really don't, what I'm going to do next. And you use the word void, and that has what I've been defining this period that I'm in now is it's, the void. And we tend to, and the way we've been trained, like societally, think that that's a bad place to be because I'm just sitting here. I'm not doing anything. Got to go figure out and go and do and da da da. There's so much power in the void. There's so much power in the stillness. There's so much power in just allowing.
That's interesting you should say that. I almost interjected quickly that the void is often given the judgment of being bad, frightening, scary, traumatic. And that's part of where we were headed with that whole concept of as we flow through things and things stop and they start, we want that pattern to continue. And the time that we don't is when we can't see. And there's a teaching in the ancient texts that say seen and unseen, heard and unheard. And to be able to bring those together and understand what that means gives us a sense of going back to that trust word. Trust.
Yes. Yep.
Although we can't see it and we can't hear it, we can't touch it or shape it in any way with a form, the void has its own purpose for us.
Yes.
Because it creates the contrast of all the other things that occur. And like you said, just moving into it, leaning into it, finding the joy that exists there is a huge growth process.
Yeah, and necessary. It's almost like an initiation or a require. It's just like you've been discussing and helping all of us remember. It's just part of an organic life cycle. Just like, winter, like the dormancy of the winter months,
Right.
and humans tend to still try to keep in that cycle of busy, 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 go, 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 and the rest of the earth is just gone silent, and we can learn a lot from nature and how to kind of follow suit with those cycles or our own, just honoring our own organic cycles. But I think there's a lot of magic in the void. I've been here a while. Yesterday was such a beautiful spring-like day.
Oh, it was beautiful.
And it had that energy of gotta get out and go, and I wanted to do that, but part of me I realized was like, I'm not ready. Like, oh man, I hope spring doesn't come too soon because like I'm not ready. Like I don't know like which way to go or what seeds to plant, in my garden. Like I felt like, oh, I hope we don't have an early spring because I really there's been other times in my life, for sure, where like, oh, what's next for me? But this one's really like, because I've been going deeper and deeper and deeper over the last couple of years, I've been more and more kind of isolated and disconnected, because of, other things going in, like, within my family and where my energy has needed to go. And then that took me into like my own like deep healing cycle. But I really don't have a clue. I really don't know, but I know it will come. And that, like you said, that trust factor is another key component of awakening.
Well, this has become a conversation, a morning chat that we really talked about something completely different. But I think what we've done is integrated that into where we are at the moment. So how our chat this morning evolved from our previous planning for structure, right? It's gone out of bounds and come back in a way that I think, well, I'd be interested to hear from anyone in comments or messages. What about this for you? How do you experience the void? Are you aware of it when it occurs?
Can you surrender to it and just allow?
And what type of response do you get?
And there's really no right or wrong, right? Our awakening journeys are so unique and individualized, and we're all on, experiencing very different things at very different times, so honoring, where you're at when you're there.
Right. We're each a unique light ray. We're each a unique sound vibration. And
Mhm.
that combination creates a symphony of sound and light on the earth. And with that, we all move in the way that we have purpose and harmony together. So this has been an amazing time with you, Kristin. I really enjoyed our moments together this morning,
Yeah, me too.
and I think we should do this again. What do you think?
I think so too. I think approaching it with a lot of honesty and being able to just share, our personal experiences is really the most supportive thing that we can do for people, because it's I've learned this like through like another teacher, but have learned it for myself, that we inspire people most by being our truth and living our truth, not necessarily trying to teach it. Um,
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so we're all in this together.
And I have to say, I have the soul of a teacher, so I will continue to teach because
Well,
it's
right.
my dharma. Hmm.
Yeah, well, exactly. But you know yeah,
I just had to say that to let people know that we do have those two perspectives and they
right,
fit together beautifully.
right. I'm a encourager and an inspirer. You're a phenomenal teacher.
Thank you.
But we're also part of our own awakening, and we're experiencing, I guess, these intense and very transformative energies just as much as everyone else. So we're not separate, right, from that process.
No, we're all in it together. So thank you for this chat this morning, and thank you to everyone who is here this morning and also who is experiencing this at another time. It will be posted so that it's available for everyone. If you want to review it at any time and join us again, we're always there, out of space and time on YouTube. And we'll keep you posted about the next pop-up one.
Yeah, we might take you a different route to join us live, hopefully a little easier. We'll uh, we'll define that and make sure that people have plenty of time to take the steps they need to do to be able to join us live.
Have a great day.
Yeah, enjoy. Love to everyone. Bye-bye.